All right, so here's where my issue lies with Barca's squad for the upcoming season. Now, this was definitely the case even before Inigo Martinez left out of nowhere, but it's even more so the case now. Now, if we take a look at Barca's squad, regardless of who's registered yet or who's not, in the striker department, and by striker I mean out and out number nines, it really is only Lewandowski, but Barca have Ferran Torres, and then of course Marcus Rashford can fill in that department, or they can opt for a false nine system and possibly play someone like Olmo there. That could also work out. Midfield wise, Barca is stacked to the brim. I mean, stacked to the absolute brim. And even if all the starting team midfielders for Barca get injured, I guarantee you the La Masia products will be given a chance and actually put in a decent performance at the very least. Barca's academy just seems to produce midfielders out of thin air, and they're all good. But when we go into the defensive department, this is where Barca's issue lies because not only is it thin, but the names, the players that they have, a lot of them are either injury prone or mistake prone or just simply not proven yet under Hansi Flick. So if we start with Kubarsi, of course, he's probably going to be the most reliable center back for Barca this season in terms of injuries and performance-wise. Thankfully, so far, he hasn't been injured, I think, yet, or just too much yet. If he's had an injury, it was very minimal. So that's been very good for Barcelona. And then, of course, performance-wise, he is one of Barcelona's best defenders at this young age. The question with him lies, can he lead a defense for a whole season at his age with rotating partners around him? Because if we move on now to Ronald Araujo as center back, Araujo, so far under Flick, isn't a proven asset. And he isn't a proven asset because in the big games he hasn't done well. He isn't a proven asset because in the build-up he hasn't been, where we want him to be. He's not been the ball-playing center back that Flick wants him to be. And when Barca plays with the high line, defenders really don't have that much time and space to make a decision when releasing a pass or finding a ball to anybody in the midfield or the attack. And Araujo has clearly struggled with that, even not just under Flick, but under Xavi as well. Ball playing isn't one of his, cup of teas. And because of that, he isn't a proven asset. And also, if you go to his injury history, he's not somebody who's injured for long, long periods of time. But he does pick up an injury, every now and again, and it does affect him. It's multiple injuries a season. If you see here, 24-25, 24-25, 24-25, and you have multiple injuries a season. But the point is that Araujo isn't proven under Flick yet. Balde and Koundé are fullbacks, of course. Koundé can play at center back, but he hasn't really done that in a few years. And at this point, even for France, he is an out-and-out right back. Next, we move on to Christensen. Now, Christensen, believe it or not, based on performance-wise, based on how much time he's had to adapt and what he's actually shown, could possibly be one of the best defenders for Barcelona in the team, maybe even better than Kubarsi. But he is the literal most injury-prone player I've seen in a very long time, even more than Olmo, even more than Dembele. Christensen just loves missing games. Every season, multiple injuries where he misses upwards of 2, 3, 4, 5 games. Last season, he was out for essentially the whole season with numerous injuries. Like, he literally had an injury that kept him out until January. And before he even came back, he got injured again. And he missed another 15 games. So, once again, you have a center back here in Christensen who's not reliable, who can't be trusted throughout a whole season to even be there, let alone perform and have consistency. And that, once again, shows that this is a thin back line that Barca has, specifically in the center back department. Hector Fort, don't even get me started on him. Don't even get me started on him because if I start, it's not gonna end and it's not gonna be good. My account or for anybody, to be honest. Eric Garcia, surprisingly, has been very good under Flick. He is now, being utilized more as a backup for Koundé at right back, as a sub in the defensive midfield for whoever needs to get rest in the midfield. And he's actually been used not as much as a center back for Flick. Now, he can still be used there, of course, but when you have a player like that, as versatile as him, with so many options of where he can play, and you have somebody like Koundé, who is really the only right back in the club, obviously, Eric Garcia is going to be primarily utilized as a right back. So when that's the case, he's not going to have that much time or chances to actually be used at center back. So once again, that adds on to the thinness that Barca has in that position. And then Jared Martin, of course, he's more of the left back backup. Flick has been using him as a left center back in the preseason because probably he knew about Inigo's departure. Martin probably will be a better left-sided center back than a left back from what I've seen, from what his abilities are. But once again, not a proven asset at center back under Flick. And then, of course, the important thing is that there is no more La Masia talents that Barca can trust. Last season, Barca let Mikhail Faye go to France without really giving him a chance in the first team. And this season, before this summer started, Eman, I think it was Iman or Eman Cospo, one of the most promising center backs in Barcelona, and maybe even in the youth academies in the world. Barca let him go to Fiorentina for a fee, not a loan, sold him, and I'm pretty sure Barca do not have a buyback option, or they just don't have any, loan or buyback option or sell-on clause for him. I think they just let him go for whatever they could let him go for, and now Barca are left with this back line, and they're left with one, two, three actual center backs, two of which are not proven under Flick, and two makeshift center backs. So, like I said, this is where my issue lies with Barca's team this season. I mean, it's gonna have to be, like they're talking about not even signing more center backs. Once Inigo left, Flick and Laporta and maybe even Deco, but I'm not sure, have said that they're probably not gonna go out and sign another center back. So, for all we know, it could prove to be, great. All the center backs, Christensen, Araujo, Kubarsi, whoever plays there could be insane this season, and it could prove to be not an issue. But currently, based on what the info we have, I'm not going to predict what will happen with this. I know that this is not currently, at this moment, what Barca should be going to the season with. And currently, as we stand, it's an issue with this back line that Barca has. Now, can this change like I just said right now? Yes. Can it be immense? Of course it can. But if I'm running a club of this caliber, I'm not going to go into next season, especially with a backline this thin. Fair enough, if you have an attack and, for example, Barca doesn't have actual number nines, Barca can get by without having a real number nine because the Yamal or Fina, whoever there, will manage to get so many goals. But especially when you're playing a high line like Barca does, a thin back line is not going to cut it, and I wouldn't be going into a season with this issue. Specifically, if I'm Barcelona, if I'm Laporta, if I'm Deco, it doesn't matter who it is. I know Barca, the way they do things in the transfer window is kind of like BS kind of. They don't actually go into it with a plan. They just sign players, and then once they sign a player, then they figure out if they can get registered in La Liga. That shouldn't be the way it's done, but it is with Barcelona, and they're now in a situation where the backline's already thin. The La Masia center backs, the only good ones have been let go. The ones that are coming up haven't been, watched too much or kept up too much by the people in general. The reason why I know about Mikhail Faye and Pospo is because I watched a little bit of them, and that's because there was hype around them. I have not seen another La Masia center back that has, is next in the pecking order to take over in the first team, and that's an issue. But yeah, listen, Barca have to rectify this. They didn't sign any backup fullbacks in the window. They didn't sign any center backs in the window whatsoever. So it's going to be an interesting issue. Will they be active in the winter, in January window? I'm not sure. There is still time to sign players. I think there's 2 to 3 weeks of the window left. Will they do it the way their registrations are going so far? I don't think so. So it's going to be an interesting issue to watch, to see how it develops as the season goes on, and if anybody gets injured and how players perform on a consistent basis. But this is my thoughts on why Barca are going to have troubles this season, specifically in defense. Let me know what you guys think. Bit of a shorter video today. I'll see you in the next one.